Taliban, Taliban, Taliban. You have probably heard enough about it, haven't you? But what is actually happening in Afghanistan and who are the Taliban? So until the end of the 70s, everyone was still safe, the women had equal rights, everyone was happy, etc. But then came the Soviet Union to support the Afghan regime. As a result, a communist party was in charge. Russians were suddenly worried that the USA would overthrow them too. Therefore, they thought they have to support them militarily. Then USA replied, okay, then we will help the opposite, the resistance in the country, the so-called Mujahideen over Pakistan. And thus, an indirect war between USA and Russia begins. Yeah, another one. And Afghanistan is simply becoming a playground for two power-hungry states. As far as wars are concerned, the country only came to rest after the collapse of the Soviet Union, after which the Russians withdrew. And what remains is only a country with a bad infrastructure, where everything has been destroyed thanks to external forces, and the people are also split into different tribes, which in turn have become enemies with each other. Let's get back to what happened after that. Chaos. But one little detail is pretty important in this case. You still remember that the USA supported Mujahideen, right? And it is precisely from this group that a new grouping has emerged, named Taliban. A group full of armed warriors who are raised very Islamist. Look, I'm trying to explain everything to you as objectively as I can and rarely give my opinion, especially in politics, but this time, this has nothing to do with Islam. Most of the information in the internet is false. For example, it is useful to point out a few obvious lies. They say it is stated that a 75-year-old widow who talked to two young men who brought her bread in Saudi Arabia was sentenced to 40 lashes and 4 months in prison. Just as there is no such punishment in Islam, there is no such punishment in the relevant country. They say in Pakistan, they gave a 13-year-old girl to a 65-year-old man with 5 wives. Anyone who knows that it is not permissible to take more than 4 wives in Islam knows that this is also a slander. They say the man pointing to a girl with his index finger in Saudi Arabia has had his index finger cut off. This is also a slander because there is no such thing in the sense of crime and punishment in any sect. There are so many different examples like this. Let's also point out that Islamic Sharia is different. The Shiites in Iran, the Wahhabis in Saudi Arabia, and the Taliban in Afghanistan are different. As the practices in different countries governed by democracy in the world today are different, they may also be different practices according to the understanding of the people who say they apply the Sharia. For this reason, don't believe everything you hear or see in the internet about religions. And of course, the most perfect application of the Sharia is the period of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and the first caliphs. We can understand the true principles of the Sharia correctly only by looking at the interpretations of the Quran, Sunnah and Ahl Sunnah scholars. Let's get back to the main topic. There are also other groups like Taliban, and one of them is, for example, Al-Qaeda. This can really be officially described as a terrorist group that proves it again and again with attacks, including the most famous attack on September the 11th, 2001, where 2 planes flew into the World Trade Center and 1 in Pentagon. By the way, Taliban also supports Al-Qaeda. USA then replied, hey, that's enough, now I'm marching into Afghanistan, destroying all the terrorist groups and bringing back democracy. At least, that's how they said it. But today, it looks like this 20-year mission didn't work out that well. Up to 40 countries took part in this mission on the side of the USA. But after all these years, there is neither democracy nor peace in Afghanistan. With the rule of Donald Trump, the goals also changed a bit. The US troops and the rest of the countries should withdraw by September the 11th, 2021, exactly 20 years after the terrorist attack. But already by August almost all foreign soldiers left Afghanistan. Well, at first they wanted to vanquish the Taliban by 2014, but from that point it suddenly became clear that they would build a stable Afghan government, train the necessary security forces, and finally they would be able to control the country themselves. And did it work out? No, neither. And what is the Taliban's goal? First of all, conquer the whole of Afghanistan, control it, found a new government, and make Afghanistan a country in which the Sharia is a law. And did they make it? Well, all of Afghanistan was simply conquered. The problem is that those trained by the Western powers just withdraw in the most cases instead of fighting them. Now they have no place to move back because Taliban has already conquered everything. The training with Western powers was apparently not good enough.
Mesdames et messieurs, vous écoutez une production Ricky Lux.
So what is Sharia? Sharia is the general name of the rules brought by Islam. State administration is also included in this. So simply said, it is an Islamic law. Well, let's get to the point of how Taliban gained so much power. Many countries around the Persian Gulf such as Saudi Arabia, the UAE and Iran are accused of supporting the Taliban. There is no evidence of this, but the fact is there are many countries supporting the Taliban. Money, weapons, etc. But the Taliban is already strong on its own. They play a major role in the global drug trade and demand taxes in the areas they have conquered and have many other income opportunities. Yes, you have heard that right. It is said that the Taliban, which is supposed to be a strictly religious group and wants to reintroduce Sharia law, plays an important role in the global drug trade, in something that is forbidden in Islam, right? So how does it look at the moment? As if the Taliban's gains are not enough, they have already had several discussions with different countries and want to negotiate. Blah blah. And at the end, it is the Afghans who suffer the most. If it continues like this, there could also be a huge new wave of refugees heading west. Well, that actually already exists, but it could grow even more. As you can see, the power games between Russians and Americans led to a global problem from Afghanistan to Europe. Lastly, I wanted to give you a message. No matter what happens at the end, a religion is the foundation that is here to show the people the right way. But people are always bad. Because if a religion were so evil, not nearly 2 billion people would believe in it today. Please think sensibly and try not to be influenced by the garbage news of today. This is not Islam and this is not Sharia. I could also explain other conspiracy theories like immigrant politics, US politics, etc. But this part is not my job and I don't want to stretch the video anymore. Damit Toba.